So I am glad to be here today, and I'm excited to be talking about our 2020 BIM 360 Fundamentals Guide. I will be talking about the BIM 360 Design Collaboration, which is covered in Chapter 5 of our BIM 360 Fundamentals Guide. Now, if you have purchased or seen our previous BIM 360 guide, you're going to be blown away because we have revamped and added a wealth of information with chapters for each module within BIM 360 with a more in-depth look at the administrator responsibilities, as well as we actually added the Civil 3D collaboration that's new. And of course, BIM 360 is constantly evolving. So there will also, can't constantly update our guides, but we will try and keep up. I'll certainly post blogs if something awesome comes out because I love everything BIM 360. I think this is an amazing tool to use within companies to collaborate with different companies. It's amazing. So just a little bit on me. I am a content learning developer with ASCENT, and for over 15 years, I have been working with a large chunk of Autodesk software from AutoCAD architecture, MEP, Advanced Still, Revit, and then of course BIM 360. I am a certified Autodesk trainer and have been working with, training, and supporting Revit since 2004. And then with the launch of BIM 360, I jumped in and started supporting and helping small and large firms get their BIM 360 set up and help them establish workflows so they can become successful with BIM 360. So let's take a look at what we'll be talking about today. So I'm going to briefly recap on what BIM 360 is, and then Revit Cloud Work Sharing, then get into preparing your Revit model for BIM 360 design collaboration. We'll look at the design collaboration interface and how to create and consume shared packages, as well as review and compare design changes and identify issues. We will end with talking about the different ways to link a model from BIM 360 into Revit. And I'm going to be using both, like switching back and forth from PowerPoint presentation to pre-recorded videos between Revit and the BIM 360 website, and utilizing both the architectural and the electrical team, and then narrating over top, because I honestly, although I love BIM 360, I just haven't found it fast enough. I'm just a tad bit impatient when it comes to waiting for the blue spinny wheel to finally finish and update, and I think y'all know where I'm at with that. The video presentations are going to be similar to the practices in the BIM 360 Fundamental Guide. And then I'd like to point out that I assume that most of you have some knowledge of BIM 360 and initiating Revit Cloud Work Sharing inside Revit, and that you either know or have someone who you work with that knows the project administrator tasks that need to be done. Because I won't be covering any of that in this webcast, but it is covered in the BIM 360 Fundamental Guide. And then I'll also note that the practices in this guide will need the trainer or end user to have at least a BIM 360 hub and a seat of BIM 360 design. So what is BIM 360? The Autodesk BIM 360 platform is a cloud-based building information modeling solution for project delivery and construction management, allowing stakeholders around the world the ability to co-author and share document and design information. The design collaboration module specifically is a solution inside of BIM 360 for project collaboration where multiple team members and different firms can get involved on a project. The two key components in making design collaboration successful is BIM 360's document management and that being set up, and then initiating Revit Cloud work sharing through Revit. So on to preparing your model for BIM 360. Revit Cloud work sharing, and it was also known as collaboration for Revit, all within the Revit software. You first start a new or open an existing project and initiate collaboration. And then working in the cloud model, you will want to create publish sets. Now, publish sets lets you package certain views that are needed to communicate your design intent instead of publishing all your views. This is going to give the package you create and share with the other teams the supporting model information they need to review and make informed decisions before linking their model into yours or yours into theirs. Then, at the end of the day or throughout the day, you will synchronize with Central and publish the model. So I'm going to switch over to my video on opening Revit Cloud Model within Revit and go through preparing it for BIM 360 design collaboration. So here we're looking at Revit 2020.2 start screen. So there's three ways to open the cloud model. One is through the open dialog box. Notice I have a little shortcut. So what you could do is drill down in here to your project, and then what you would do is drag and drop it over into the places bar. Makes things super quick and easy to get to your project. The next one is the recents file, where you see the thumbnails, you can see the little icon for work set and that it's a cloud model. The next one is my favorite. This one is the BIM 360 node. So when you click on your hub and you click on your project and you go through the file structure down to your team and you finally get to your model, notice that it tells me that there's an update available. This is amazing. I can come over to the left and click Publish Latest, and that was my other left, and hit Publish. As soon as it updates, you get the latest published green light to go. Once the model is opened and you can either work on it, you can go to the Collaborate tab and click Publish Settings. And in here is where I'm going to create a published set. So this one I'm just going to call Sheet Set. And I'm only going to put the sheet views in here. So make sure that you have the one you just created checked, and then you can sort by just the sheets in the model. Now I can go ahead and start clicking away and just adding everything, but I'm going to preview because some people have been making sheets and haven't put anything on it. So I want to make sure that I'm selecting, and in the preview I see that there's actually information in that view, right? We don't need to clog up the BIM 360, right? So after that, you'll want to go and click on Sync and return anything that you have checked out. And as soon as that syncs, you can go into Manage Cloud Models. You'll select on your project. And then when you're in here, hover over the model's name and click on the Publish Latest icon. So once you hit Publish, it is now publishing to the BIM 360 website. So let's talk about the BIM 360 website, specifically the design collaboration. You are able to review deliverables from the first package to the last and any in between. In it, your projects, this is essentially going to be your project's official record of deliverable exchange. Along with synchronizing and publishing the model, design collaboration takes it one step further and gives you extra control of your model and what you want the other teams to have and when you want them to have it. It's really a win-win for everyone because I don't want somebody's file that is being updated twice daily as much as you don't want my file that is constantly being updated. But we both want each other's models when the information or design has reached a point that it's ready to be shared and communicated with the rest of the team. So here we're looking at the design collaboration module interface. I have broken this down into two sections. Now it's minus the top area, that dark blue banner up at the very top. This is something you will see when you access any of the modules. But to review, in the upper left is the account and project selector. Then right below that, where you see the square of dots, is the module selector. And then in the upper right is the help menu and your Autodesk account profile. So the two sections I'm going to be talking about are the timeline area at the top here that's very colorful, and the team space at the bottom. So each team has their own timeline, or what Autodesk calls swim lanes, simply because the timeline resembles an Olympic pool or just a pool in general, but with each team having their own lane, and it's even broken down into colors. The symbols that you see along the timeline are broken down into each team's color. This is just to keep everything visually grouped. And then the team space below shows information about your team. You can look at the sets and models, the aggregated 3D model, and also issues that have been assigned to anyone in your team. Within each team's timeline, you can view any linked models that are linked in to their model by clicking on the arrow next to the team's name. This shows any nodes. As you can see, I mean, this looks like a light rail map, but all of these nodes and symbols are important, and it's tracking everything that each team is doing. So when anybody publishes or shares a package, it's all recorded on this timeline. And let's talk more about those nodes there. So the timeline nodes, they're overwhelming, but the trick is just to keep things sane by hovering your cursor over the node to get a preview of what each node is. Also, you can click on the nodes that have like badges on them. These are like clusters of packages that are close together. And of course, hover your cursor over the node to review the information. You can also click on the node just to review what's in that package, even if it's been consumed or it's just shared. I mean, if you click on it, that team space below is going to show you information. You're not going to do anything. Really, it's like almost a two-click system here to get things consumed. It's always, are you sure? Instead of saying, are you sure about that, it's giving you another dialog box to say, yes, let's move, let's keep going. So the main node that you want to watch for is the circles that are empty on other teams' timelines. This indicates that there is a package that has been shared. So it's essentially a point in the team's model that they deemed important to share with the rest of the team. So let's switch over to the design collaboration interface and talk about the timeline section just a little bit more. So here at the top, I'm drawing a line around it. This is the timeline section. And each team is going to be separated out into their own color with their own timeline or swim lane, and even their nodes are going to be the same color, which are the circles and squares. The filters, if you notice up at the teams up there, when I turn it off, I don't see that link drop down icon. And then here in the center is the timeline handle. So if I click on the X, it closes it. If I expand it, then what I'm seeing is going to be just the shared and then my team only. So as you can see across the top there, if it is just in shared and my team's timeline, I'm going to see everybody just on one, which is helpful because then my team space can be a little bit bigger. And then, of course, if I expand it, I can see all of the teams and their timelines. So here, this bar, this is the timeliner or zoom bar. So if you drag the grip to the right, I can narrow it down to within the last 5 days or zoom it out to see every package that has been shared. And then if you hover or click on these clusters and hover, notice that I can see what exactly those are. And then let's talk about the team space down here at the bottom. So I'll draw a line around here showing which area I'm talking about. So here we're looking at the electrical team. So I can review the sets and sheets, 3D views, the aggregated model. I can update to latest. If you click this, it's going to check and make sure there's no updates to any of the sets that are posted here. The next one is for admins only. And then all my team issues is going to show all the issues that have been assigned to your team and work in progress and any package issues. And then over to the right, these two icons. The first one is the email notification, and everyone needs to go in and turn this on because this is invaluable. To be notified if somebody's consuming, if somebody shares, you're just in the know. It's just that one extra layer of information that you need to just to keep you up to date, really. And the next one is the project status. So here you can go in and see successful publishes or if anything's errored, and you can click on the details to find out more information about that error or success. And then in the lower right corner is the graduation cap. If you click on it, you can see these things were the little videos you went through when you first came into BIM 360. You can click on anything in there and it will whip you over to information on that topic. So let's talk about creating shared packages. So why create packages and share them with the other teams? As I mentioned before, design collaboration allows teams to have more control over what is being shared and when it is being shared. The purpose of creating a shared package is our design at this stage in the cycle has been updated enough that it is worth sharing to the other team members, like walls getting moved or structural elements that are added or moved. I need to communicate these changes to, let's say, the electrical team who would be impacted by walls moving or changing or being removed completely. When you create a shared package, you will give it a name, and this can be anything to updated model, 50% CD set or permits. You can really, I mean, it's all going to be in the established workflow that has been set up. And then you will select the sets, the models, and documents that you want to be packaged and shared to the other teams. And then after you share a package, the model at that current state will be copied within the shared folder on the document management module. Now, shared packages cannot be deleted once they are created. and shared. There is a stage where if you do not hit that share button after creating a package, it will show up on your timeline as a dotted line circle, and you can delete those. But if you go ahead and share it, it is tracked, it is now part of the log. But if you have shared a package and notice that something needs to be added or fixed, you can make those changes, publish if needed, and the model is, you basically can recreate the shared package and add a description of the package addressing the mishaps. So let's switch over to Design Collaboration module and create a shared package. So what I'm going to do is click on Create a New Package, and then over here to the left is the default package name. So I'm going to come in here and type in a name. Now, if you don't type it here, you do get a second chance when you hit share. I'm going to click on the model that I want to add to the package and click Save. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit share. And now here's your second opportunity to name the package and add a package description. And then I'm going to hit share again. And it is now processing that. It's going to now post it on the timeline. So other teams are going to see that this package has been shared. And also, when I switch over to the document management module, and within the project files, if I go and expand the shared folder, I can click on that electrical teams folder and see that that model is now in there. Now let's talk about consuming a shared package and why this is an important step. Before consuming a package, you have the ability to review and to have it show changes. So showing changes will compare the last consumed package that your team consumed with the model you are currently reviewing. Consuming a shared package gives your team control on when you want to accept new design information to make an informed decision on, will this update affect my model in any way? For instance, the electrical team is reviewing architect's changes. A wall has moved where they have placed a Revit host-based element like a panel. They know that if they consume this package, the wall in their model will update and affect their panels. So they have that ability to go and, plan for that. Before BIM 360 and design collaboration, teams would get updated models and just hope that things wouldn't change. If not, it was kind of like all hands on deck. We need to get this thing fixed because things moved and now we need to fix it. You do have the ability to consume the package, but also add issues and assign it to a team or person, communicating questions or concerns with a part of the model. So let's flip back to Design Collaboration module and walk through reviewing and consuming a shared package from another team's timeline. So as you can see, in the upper right corner, there's a notification that a new package is available to review. So I'm also getting an email along with that. So notice that I'm in my team space and team timeline, and I'm looking at the shared. I can go in here and click on all these clusters to try and figure out who it is, but I'm going to expand it to see all the timelines. And here is clearly the last one that's been shared. So I'm going to click on it and then click on Show Changes because I want to see what has changed in such a short period amount of time. And I actually want to expand the timeline just to show you that it will highlight which packages are being reviewed. And it's the one I just recently consumed. So if you zoom in, you can click on the highlighted elements that have been changed in the model, and I can click on the previous one that I consumed and see the difference. So clearly this is something I need to consume because that was a pretty major move. And consume, and then there's that second option. We're going to consume or cancel. And then when you expand that timeline, you can see that it's now not a shared package, but a consume package. And then if I flip back over to the document management module, and I go to my, up to my architectural team and click on consumed, and then the electrical folder, because that's the one I just consumed, I now see the model within there. So I've mentioned that you can identify and create issues. So why create them? Creating issues isn't a punishment, but a communication tool, right? When you create or consume a shared package, you have the ability to identify and create issues within the model. This can be something that isn't going to deter you from consuming the package, but you do want to communicate to the person or team responsible your concerns about the model. You can add as much detail as possible so you are communicating to the fullest, like assigning it to an entire team, role, or person. You can specify a due date when the issue needs to be addressed, give location details. You can even change the owner. So if I'm creating an issue in a model that I don't necessarily want to be in charge of, I can assign it to my team lead or someone else to be responsible to verify that gets addressed. And then assign a root cause like a coordination, design, quality, or safety issue, and then a description to add even more detail. Issues are saved throughout the lifespan of the projects, and they cannot be deleted. So let's switch over to Design Collaboration module and create a shared package, but add an issue to address a minor issue found. So I'm going to first click on Update to Latest just to make sure that there's no updates. This is a good idea to do all the time, anytime you come in here. So I'm going to create a package. Notice there's a published model. So I'm going to create the package. Now, I open up to the IFC file that's linked in. So I want to switch it over to the actual 3D view. I myself can come in here and review what's actually being published. And I want to look at the set here because I just want to make sure that everything's okay. And what I've noticed is that here in one of the restrooms, there's a wheelchair accessibility symbol missing. So I'm going to create an issue. But first, I'm going to name the package. If not, the package name would be that architectural 43. No, not a big deal because people can review and see what the changes were. So I want to make sure I create or select, which set I want in there. And then I'm going to select on issues and click create issues. And then I need to identify where this issue is in the model. And then over to the left, give it a title. So wheelchair accessibility symbol. And then of course, I'm going to assign it. I'll just assign it to myself, give myself a few days. And then I can do a root cause or a description just to give more detailed information about this. And now I can flip back to the content within this, and I'm going to expand documents. And here, I can add any Word, Excel, or image file that is within my team's folder. So this is back on the document management module. Anything that is supporting files just to support my issue or package. So I'm going to hit save, and then I'm going to share. And once again, I get the option to name it, add description, and then click share again. And now that will show up on my timeline, and on another person's timeline as an empty circle. So guys, the last thing we will be talking about is establishing how Revit will communicate with BIM 360 in regards to linking models. So the images we're seeing right now are showing the team folders within document management and where consumed and share would reside. So there are 3 ways to link a model into BIM 360. Now, I know you're saying, no, I've seen more. Yes, there are more, but these 3 are the standard ones. These are the ones that Autodesk recommends. And I mean, it's really up to your workflow and establishing that. So the 3 that I'm going to talk about are live linking, linking from consumed or shared folder, and depending on what your team is providing, like the structural, plumbing, HVAC, you can use a combination of the 3. So the first one, live linking. Live linking is linking another team's model directly from their team folder. Like this was exactly what we were doing in BIM 360 team. If you were there, you really didn't have these options, these extra permissions, these extra layers. Every time someone syncs and publishes their model to the cloud, it saves into their team folder, and this is regardless. So if it was linked into your model, it will update in your model as soon as you sync. Live linking is exactly what it is. It's live. This method doesn't use shared or consumed folders and doesn't need design collaboration team setup. And then linking from the consumed folder, this method gives you the most control with linking models through permissions and sharing and consuming packages. You have the chance to review the model before consuming, and once you consume it, a copy of the model will reside on your team's consume folder. That linked model will not change until you go into Design Collaboration module and consume another shared package from that team's timeline. And then the last one is linking from a shared folder. This is a hybrid of the previous 2 methods. This method doesn't utilizing consume packages, but when another team deems their model is ready to be shared with the rest of the team, they create a shared package. This method is solely based on trust, that why another team deems their model shareable is what I'm going to link into my model. So it's just a step above live linking because it does also utilize permissions. And it also helps that you're not getting an update every time the team syncs and publishes. And I'm also not going to see that model link until that team, again, deems their model ready to be shared and they share a package with the changes. So an example would be the interior design team in this project doesn't need to create a shared package because their designs are not structural in any way. What they are doing won't affect my design, and getting constant updates of their models is fine. But for them, it's going to be different. In order for them to work and get design changes, they do need to be able to consume packages. They don't want to live link and constantly be getting updates of the model, but they do need to consume packages that are communicating design changes from other teams. This gives them the opportunity to review packages to see if it will affect their designs. So let's switch over to Revit and go through linking models into the architectural model from BIM 360. So we're going to go to the Insert tab and link Revit. I'm going to go directly into the Interior Designer folder and link in their model. But I want to back up here. I want to go back into the Architectural Teams folder and then into the Consumed. Notice I don't have an Interior Design folder in here. It's because they weren't sharing and I wasn't consuming from them. So directly to their folder, linking in their model, live linking. It's going to get rid of my model that they have linked in their project. And I'm going to crop this and then zoom in a little tighter so you can see the furniture layout that they had in their model. And notice they have a little exterior light floating out in space. Not a big deal. It's not going to affect me at all. But once I'm working on my information in my model, I sync, and I can even go through a whole set of publish. And once my model syncs with the cloud and they're syncing and publishing their model, as soon as the communication between BIM and Revit happen, I get an update. So notice that that floating light is now gone. Now I'm going to switch over to my MEP coordination view, and I'm going to link in that electrical model that I consumed. So within the project files in my architectural folder, from the consumed, I'm going to go into the electrical folder and link in that electrical model. Now, this is going to stay exactly how it is until I go back into Design Collaboration Module and consume another electrical package. And that concludes the WebEx on Design Collaboration chapter of our BIM 360 Fundamental Guide. So we covered a lot today. So I want to go back through the major topics discussed here today. We talked about what BIM 360 is and the two key components in making design collaboration function, which are the BIM 360 document management and initiating Revit Cloud work sharing through Revit. We talked about the design collaboration model interface, such as the timeline and team space, and then why create and consume packages. The control through permissions and the ability to review changes is invaluable to a company and has been my favorite change from the old BIM 360 team days, along with communicating and identifying issues or concerns that you find when reviewing changes in a model. Think back to when you got updates to a model and you had to create a backup just in case. Well, not anymore, because you have the ability to establish a workflow and how you will communicate with the other teams through BIM 360 linking with other people's models, whether it be live linking from the consumed or from the shared folder. And then that's it, guys. Thanks for taking time out of your day to be here and to watch my webcast on our new and improved BIM 360 Fundamental Guide.